we all know as recruiters, there are three sort of main ways you can recruit. The first one is the executive search, right? Usually reserved for the C-suite, executive hires like CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, that sort of thing. All right, an executive search is typically, you lock in with a retainer, you get a third of the payment up front, you get payment for delivering the long list, and then you get payment on delivery of signature, right? So that's the first one, executive search. The second sort of recruitment model is contingent, right? And contingent is essentially pay me for the success. So a lot of agencies historically have gone, here's a CV, are you interested? Here's a CV, are you interested? If the client says, actually, that looks really good, let's interview them. Oh, we really like them, here's an offer. Great. We only get paid as recruiters. It's contingent on them starting, right? And so that's the second model. And the third one is the contractor, temp, sort of, the agency is holding the payroll for those workers, right? So typically quite common in blue collar work, IT sectors, office support for those sort of temp roles, and that's kind of like that's like the contractor model, right? So they're kind of like the three main sort of streams for recruitment agencies, and this episode, I kind of want to highlight there's a more metamorphosis happening, and I don't know if anyone's coined it yet, and I'm here to coin it, okay? So over the 20 years I've been recruiting, I have started to really start seeing a shift. The contingent model, I wouldn't say it's broken. There's still a place for it in people's desks. I certainly still have a place for it in my desk. But the initial push from agencies to say, you know what, I don't want contingent work on my desk anymore. It's too stressful. It's too risky. I want to get some more guarantees with, retained work. I want to be retained to do this assignment. Okay? So retained and executive search are kind of the same methodology. You're getting paid up front to do the work, and when we deliver it, we get paid for that. There's different terms attached to that as well, which is essentially saying, every candidate comes through us, you're basically owning the recruitment cycle or process for this specific role. And retained and executive get lumped together all of the time. There is a movement happening, as I say, in the contingent world. No one wants to do it anymore. And that comes from an agency perspective because because of that risk, as I say, because of the challenges that incurs into the competition that it invites. And so even as I'd say from about 10 years ago, starting to see a push away from contingent to, hey, I'd like you to retain me for this role. It started to turn when now I believe companies are asking for the same service. I've spoken to so many clients lately who you would never expect to want to go retained, and they are starting to come to me and say, look, we aren't happy with the service we've been getting from recruiters. We aren't happy with the results that we're getting with our current way we're doing things. We need to mix it up. What do you suggest? We kind of want to lock in with a recruiter like you who specializes in this field. So we're now starting to see the client side driving this push away from the contingent model because clearly it ain't working, right? Which is a breath of fresh air for the sector. And good on you, recruiters, because it takes us coaching clients and companies on how we could do this better and lifting the collective standard of what we do to get to that point. So we need to keep pushing on it. I'm loving it, right? But I think it needs a name. Because as I said at the beginning, we've got executive search, which elicits a sort of like, yep, that's that retainer model. We've got contingent, and then we've got that contractor model. The executive search function, and I'm hearing more and more recruiters who specialize, whether it be in law, whether it be in accounting, whether it be in engineering, or whatever, they'll say, oh, we've got the executive search arm. Now, I know in my brain, executive search is for that C-level role, executives, directors, things like that. And I think that will remain the same, okay? But if we were to coin, this retained model, around like what's this change, this shift happening from contingent? It's kind of a merging of contingent, retained, executive, right? Rather than having two lines of thought within your business, I'd be going as far as saying it's specialist executive search. All right? So whatever you do as a recruiter, and you're listening to this today, you are a specialist. I almost guarantee it. Most people have a lane they stick to. Now, how deep you are as a specialist is up to you and how you operate. But most people have something that defines what they do and where they recruit. Okay? And so if that is the case, if you were to think about this for a moment, if I were to go fully retained, I only did work I got paid up front for and the terms were tight and that role was mine, would calling myself a specialist executive search firm make sense? It probably does, right? Because there's a couple of things when you say executive, it doesn't matter what, I don't believe it matters what level you're recruiting at. Let's be fair. You're not going to do a retainer on a graduate role, and you're probably not even really recruiting at the graduate level. So most roles we get asked to help with are from seniors and above. No matter what sector you're in, it'll have senior or something above it, you know. And to say I'm an executive search firm, I'm looking for a senior, blah, 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 it kind of still makes sense. And I think you can get away with it. And I do truly believe that if we're going to encapsulate what we're trying to achieve as recruiters here, really, it is specialist executive search. And I would love you to steal that concept from me, because I think the more people that are specialist executive search firms will actually raise the standard even higher for what we do. Less competition, less problems when it comes to recruiting, better results for clients, and probably a healthier industry as a whole for the recruiters. Right? I'm huge about burnout. I'm huge about protecting the mindset and the motivations of recruiters, right? And when you go into that retainer model, guess what? Life is so much calmer. It's hard work. Don't get me wrong. You still got to do a lot of work. There's a lot of actual work you've got to do. But the stress of the competition and the risk, it kind of takes a bit more of a backseat to when perhaps you were just doing a fully contingent model. Okay, so that's the concept today. Specialist executive search. Does that suit your business? Because I know a lot of businesses who say, we've got an executive search function. If you want to keep that delineation there to say, well, that's just for the high-end people, great. But you could even say we're an executive search firm for X sector, and we do all levels. The whole concept here is that you need to coach your clients, educate them, and get them saying, I want to pay you up front to lock in and do this work, and you're the one doing that. Better for you, better for them, better for the market. All right? Let's go. Like, share, subscribe. Helps us grow. As always, have an amazing day, and may all your specialist executive search dreams come true.